I just had a very crazy letter come to my house from Bret Hart's manager or agent. And when my book came out, the gist of the letter was, how could you trash Bret Hart at a time like this? And they actually sent an article where Bret had written this unbelievably beautiful article. I don't know when it was, but it said, if there's anything true or real in professional wrestling, it's Terry Bollea. I've seen him with the kids. And the article is unbelievable. And I felt bad to see the article and the guy thinking I was trashing Bret. And this was Bret Hart's manager. And I explained to my wife, I said, I don't understand the letter. I mean, in the book, I just told what happened. Bret and I were friends. There were some problems with dropping the belt to Bret and Yokozuna. I made a deal to drop it to Yokozuna. Bret thought I was supposed to drop to him. Bret and myself went in with Vince. Vince said, Bret, that's what you thought you heard. We cleared that up. We became friends again. And then I got trashed in the Calgary Sun for a couple of years on, the negative stuff with Hulk Hogan. Then when he came to the WCW, we became friends again. We were flying around in my plane, going to all the events. He was staying at my house and hanging out with my kids and shook hands, hugged goodbye. Then in the Calgary paper, I got trashed again. And then this manager of his writes a letter, how could you kick Bret Hart when he was down? I told my wife, I said, I just wrote what happened. I'm not kicking anybody. I love Bret. I was, saw him at Davey Boy's funeral. I feel horrible. I love Bret to death.
Well, he's wrong. I was supposed to wrestle Hogan at SummerSlam for the belt. And we even took pictures, which maybe he doesn't remember this, or Vince. But I remember we took pictures with a tug-of-war with the belt for the poster. Over the weeks, Vince tells me that Hulk isn't going to wrestle me because he doesn't want to drop the belt. And so I confronted Hulk on it. We had a big blow-off about it. And then we go and confront Vince, and Vince goes, it's a non-title match. I'm going, since when, So then after I kind of got over that, and of course Yoko got the belt. And people, it's not so much the belt. People don't understand. It's not the belt. The champion is the highest paid guy in the company. And when the boss of the company says you're getting the belt, it means I've earned the spot to become the highest paid guy in the company. And Hulk Hogan takes it upon himself to redirect my fate and say, no, you're not getting it. He's going to get the main event money, and you're still in the middle of the card or wherever. And he didn't pass the torch to me. And I certainly think I worked hard enough to earn that spot. And I think it would have been a great historical match. I did trash him a lot years ago. I did kind of knock him for years about being a bad actor. I don't know if I said anything wasn't true, but when I got to WCW, I sort of saw things a little differently because I felt that Vince tried to railroad Hulk a little bit in the end, maybe even using me to do it. We buried the hatchet, and I shook his hand, and I never said a bad thing about him or wrote a bad thing about him again. And I wrote a really nice column about him, and then he wrote in his book that he doesn't know what my problem is, and I always bash him everywhere.
I love the Hart family. I feel horrible about the tragedy and the problems over the last decade with the Hart family. I love Bret Hart.